I'm sitting where I usually sit to teach my online music classes, and then my other student comes in and sits over here. So somebody had mentioned about or asked me a little bit more about my personal background. So I'm going to have a little bit of a slideshow with a small discussion on music. So my background is basically, my mom is an opera singer, or was an opera singer. She's classically trained. We learned through my mom's experience, and we were surrounded by a lot of celebrities growing up. My dad was a US diplomat, a cultural attaché, and people like Paul Simon would be in and out of our house in South Africa. I met people like Chris Tucker, Charlize Theron. A lot of the celebrities had not necessarily dealt with me personally, but through my dad's career and lifestyle. Tom Cruise. So I was privileged enough to grow up in a background where this was sort of like a normal lifestyle for me, to be surrounded by people who were of a high standing acting and music environment. And then I also worked with a lot of people. And then the younger generation that I had taught had performed in front of celebrities and done the America's Got Talent, and my sister was on The Voice in South Africa. So yeah, and I grew up in Japan as a child, and it's just, yeah, and my background in music has just been music since I was a little kid, from the age of 3 all the way up to now, and I'm 43. I studied art, and my art degree also incorporated music. So even though I was studying art, I was always involved with music, bringing the sounds to the arts, doing performances in the gallery spaces, composing music. It's just how I've done things. I had a little bit of a different streak than some other people. I chose to choose an art direction, but also the music and the art always went hand in hand. And my sister is like a little celebrity in South Africa right now, and she's doing performances and gigs, and she deals with jazz. So my mom's the opera classical singer, my sister does jazz, and I'm more production. And I've taught people who have performed in front of Alicia Keys. So I've dabbled with lots of things, and I feel privileged to have taught all these people in the past. And I'm on a completely different direction and goal right now in my life. And I had been teaching in music schools, or I've taught in Bach to Rock, which is like a music school in the United States. And it turns out that the director who started the school was actually the director at the art university that I studied at. So the music has always been part of even the industry I was in. I met people like Paul McCartney walking into our art exhibition space at the Corcoran. My sister now works with one of his former musicians in production. So it's been it's like life has molded me in different directions, and I've met people like Jeff Koons graduated me. I don't know if you know art, but Jeff Koons is a very famous artist who deals with these big statues of balloon dogs in New York right now, and they travel the world. So all of my information, if you want to look more deeply into who I am, you can find on my website. I'm putting little clips of my website information on here, nomadics.com, and then my Wix website. And then you can see the direction where I'm going with the production side and why I've chosen production versus being like a live musician. I feel more comfortable behind the screens, if you know what I mean. So there's that, and then I have the classes that I'm teaching. I'm putting little clips on here, beginners music, beginners music for voice and piano or separately, and obviously graphic design, and then I do video editing. But I'm using my video editing with iMovie, which is a very simple format on the Apple, but I can use other formats with Adobe Suite, which is for graphic designers and all those things. And yeah, I can go in depth into a couple of different things. So I learned from the best, and I've worked with very, very high-end, top-of-the-notch people in the industry. I think people I've worked with at Guitar Center have performed with Alicia Keys live. When I did my performance in South Africa for my master's, the drummer, who is now no longer with us, I'm afraid, was a drummer that performed with Erykah Badu. So the world's smaller than you think. You know, you think that people don't know people, but they're actually connections with everybody. We are all connected, and even though people say it's 6 degrees of separation, I honestly, truly think it's literally only 1 degree of separation. My personal opinion. That's how I've seen it, and I've grown up with these people in my life. So I'm qualified to do lots of different things. I'm choosing to do music on this particular YouTube channel because people have said to kind of separate the ideas rather than having 6 different things happening in one video or one channel. So I'm separating this one. I might do one on art later. And then I have another one on food. So I might consider doing a food section for another channel. But I'm starting off with music, and then I'll diversify. So that's generally where I am. Once again, the setup that I have here is how I teach my music students, both online and in person. So some of the times, if I'm not teaching or doing production, I'm mainly focusing on piano because people want to learn the technical side of piano. And the piano will then lead you into composition, which will then lead you into music softwares. So it's not, production doesn't always happen overnight. It happens from a process that you probably go through in your life and where you have landed in that situation. I used to play drums. I was in a band at one point. I think I mentioned in a couple of videos that my parents decided that they were selling the drum set after the show because we made way too much noise. And soundproofing was non-existent from when we practiced because at the age of 16, who knows about, we didn't know about soundproofing stuff. So I'm letting you guys know that soundproofing is necessary if you're a younger group of people. Make sure your space is soundproof before you start a band. Make sure the space is soundproof so your parents don't sell your drum sets or drum kits or guitars or basses or whatever else you have lying around in the basement. Make sure you soundproof it. That's my moral of the story is soundproof. And yeah, before I left South Africa, my parents were busy setting up or building a studio space for me. So I designed a recording studio space and we were going to build it up. And then I decided that South Africa wasn't for me. So I moved back to the States where I studied my first degree. I did my master's in South Africa and my first degree in the United States at the Corcoran where I met Paul McCartney. So it was a very interesting lifestyle, and I'm staying stable right now. I'm not moving around. My husband works for CBS News. So I talk about these celebrities, but he's around the celebrities all the time. That's his lifestyle. But he's so nonchalant about it. He doesn't talk about it at all. It's just part of his lifestyle, and I'm dealing with more of the art side, which is fine. And I'm happy doing what I'm doing right now. I would like you guys to take a look at my websites that I've now put in as links on my bio. And I've built my own websites. I set those sites up myself. I don't have any help. I do everything myself, from the graphic design to the web development to the layout to the music. It's all done by me. So everything you see that I've put in my bio, including the sites, all done by me. I do not have a team. It's me, myself, and I, My husband obviously works in CBS News. So please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate you guys. participating in different ways depending on which direction you're wanting to go in. Yes, I've worked with celebrities before. It wouldn't be different for me. I'm just building myself up in a different way. I've never really gone full force on YouTube, so YouTube is now the direction I'm focusing on right now. My life included a lot of travel as a child because of my dad's job. So we lived in 5 different countries. My mom's South African, so she's mixed. I'm putting a little picture of my mom when she was doing ballet during the times of her growing up in South Africa, right here. And her dance partner in the picture happens to be one of the top dancers, one of the top dancers, the older generation from Dance Theater of Harlem. So yeah, it's a very small world. You know, people think that there are no, we are connected. The world is connected. You just need to look for the signs. The signs are there. So yeah, like and subscribe. Please join me in a couple of different ways, whether it's, observing and analyzing what I'm doing here, or whether it's taking a course with me and taking a look at what I'm offering on Fiverr right now. And yeah, see you in the next video.